What's going on, y'all? I'm your host, Cool Colas, and you are now tuning into a new video on my channel. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about the racist career failure agenda of WWE against foundational Black American wrestlers. So let's get into it. Listen, y'all, I've been peeping some shit. I've been peeping the erasure of the careers of foundational Black American wrestlers in WWE. And it's pretty rampant. But I want to talk about the mechanics with y'all because some of you all are going to get into this whole idea of it being a reach and all this other shit. And I ain't got time for that. We need to literally break down how this is going on. And this is something that is clearly in your face and has been going on for a long time. And it's no way that you can even try to deny it at this point. First of all, let's start off with the New Day. Now, I don't want to hear from some of y'all who love to major in the minors about how, you know, the New Day is not fully FBA because y'all get in here and y'all say, he's not FBA, he's not gay. The fact of the matter is that Xavier Woods is FBA, and as a result, the whole team is going to be diminished because of the fact that he's FBA. And Kofi being Black also just happens to work out as well, too. Regardless, the New Day has been treated like shit on their heel run, and it's not even funny. They had a 56-day title run as a tag team. And you all know of what I've said about tag teams in the past. When it comes to Black people in tag teams, it's like a hamster wheel. They just keep being in this revolving circle where they're just irrelevant all the time. Like, they get the belt sometimes, then they lose them, then they end up being like a tag team that nobody cares about or forgets, and then they get the belts again, and they have it for a short amount of time, then another team gets it, but then they never take those competitors and they turn them into main event stars. Now, some could go and they could say, well, in the New Day, they did that with Big E. He was positioned to be a star. And I would say two things. One, even his push was being fucked. Let's be real. And number two, Big E is not FBA. With that being said, look at teams like The Shield. The Shield was a great team. They made all three members of The Shield stars at some point. Now, some could say Dean Ambrose, his was kind of unceremonious, but look at how well they positioned Seth Rollins' career and how well they positioned Roman Reigns' career. When it comes to Xavier and Kofi, it was unceremonious because, first of all, Xavier hasn't had a singles run whatsoever as far as other belts, outside of the tag team belts. Kofi Kingston had one run, but let's just focus on Xavier for a second. Xavier is FBA, and Xavier has had no main belt run. Every other person in New Day and Shield has had a belt run at least one time. But again, I'm comparing them to the Shield to basically show you that they've had many more chances to build these people as stars. The New Day, which arguably was a good enough, if not better team than the Shield, was not allowed to have all of their members excel to main event caliber and also be seen as people who would be taken seriously as wrestlers, despite the fact that all three of them are great wrestlers and they're also great on the mic. The New Day recently in their heel run were treated like dog shit. Let's just be real. I mean, look at the whole idea of how they even started this whole turn. They tried to pawn it off on this cheap thing of having Big E come back for just a little bit, and then we didn't see Big E whatsoever since that point of them turning the New Day heel. And ever since then, all they've done is have them appear in the ring, and then people are just booing them basically out of the ring, and they're not even able to get even a few words in. And they did this for like 3 or 4 weeks straight. And then at some point they had them actually get the titles, but even that was unceremonious. Let's really unpack it. I mean, they had a feud with the War Raiders, and then they just randomly lost it to Judgment Day. And they're also trying to pull somewhat of a trend that I'm seeing as well, too. Because one of the things that I'm noticing is that every single time that they are going to shit on or fail the career of a Black, that being an FBA wrestler or wrestlers, what they tend to do is give them a really good match before they're basically going to say, you know, we're just going to totally shit on your career. And that's what they did with them. And that's also what they did with the Street Profits as well, too. The Street Profits, it was the same get up. And I said this before in a previous video. If you look at the video where I talked about how they were on Cameron's podcast and they were talking about how they were going to be the champions forever and all this other stuff, I said that this whole thing was going to come down to them basically being shitted on, and it was like a hamster wheel. Matter of fact, look at all the tag teams and how the foundational Black Americans who are a part of some tag team are in this whole hamster wheel cycle. I've told you all about this before. They love to relegate a lot of foundational Black American wrestlers to just being in a tag team. That way they can just kind of be in this revolving circle of having the titles, then not having it, then being a team that nobody cares about, them being jobbers, and then having the titles again, but then they never get elevated into being main event stars. All these years go by, and guess what? They age these people out, and that's basically what happens. With Street Profits specifically, it was some bullshit because think about the way that they were treated. They weren't on any main event show, and they weren't even in WrestleMania, and they had the perfect opportunity to be a part of WrestleMania as well, too. They lost it to the Wyatt Six. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like the Wyatt Six. I think they're really cool because I was a big Bray Wyatt fan, and I'm also a fan of this group as well, too. But the way they did it, it sucked, and they had so much that they could have played on with this feud. This was a perfect opportunity for them to use Bo Dallas to cut a whole bunch of promos about maybe getting into the psyche of the Street Profits and even unlocking the insecurities that Montez Ford may have had, because they could have gone into this whole thing of kind of what he was talking about on the show that he had with Bianca Belair, where he said, you know, what's next for me? You know, this whole insecurity of never being able to have a main title run. And that could have even led to them maybe losing it and then it turning into a title run. But see, this is the thing. They don't believe in actually promoting the Street Profits, despite all of the talent that all of us can see in Montez Ford and even in Angelo Dawkins as well, too. I mean, come on, y'all. Think about how they even treat the Street Profits, even beyond the thing of them losing the titles to the Wyatt Six. They had to pretty much cut their own promos. You saw Montez doing his best to say certain shit on social media and trying to cut little promos here and there, but you didn't really see him do it on SmackDown or on WWE whatsoever. You saw them trying to do some independent shit, but not really anything that was mainstream. They're not even being promoted, let alone being taken as credible wrestlers who have great talents. And let's be real, we've seen both of these brothers wrestle, and they both do an excellent job. So there's no reason why Dawkins shouldn't at least be U.S. champion and Montez Ford shouldn't be in the main title picture. Now let's talk about Naomi. The reality is that Naomi, although she is the Money in the Bank holder, and she was the Money in the Bank winner for this year, I just don't understand why every single time she gets into a confrontation with Jade Cargill, she's getting her ass whooped. Like literally every single time. Have you noticed that Jade always comes out on top? Now, some of you are looking at this and you're like, well, you know, Jade's black too, Jade's black too. Jade is not a foundational Black American. Jade is Caribbean. As a matter of fact, I think she might be Jamaican. But the point is that Naomi, a foundational Black American wrestler who is also an old head at this point, you can pretty much call her, she is being treated like a crash dummy despite the fact that she has the briefcase. I mean, literally every time that she's fighting Jade, it's always her ending up on the floor and Jade being on top of her beating her ass, or Jade tossing her around like a rag doll or something like that. Naomi is very talented, and she doesn't need to be relegated to being a chicken shit all the time. Yes, she can still do the evil laugh and all that, and I do love the proceed with caution gimmick. Matter of fact, this is my favorite Naomi gimmick by a landslide. But there is a level of dominance that she can have because this is a very athletic woman, and I would love to have her have some type of offense whenever she does face off with Jade Cargill. But literally, every single time these two get in contact with one another, Jade is always standing tall. Let's be real. And then you got to remember too, Bianca is out of commission. Now, they have the thing now where she's about to be the special guest referee. But look at the way that they treated her when she was on her way out after the WrestleMania match. Bianca was possibly the best performer, the best foundational Black American performer and performer in general on the WrestleMania card. And regardless of that, she ended up losing her streak. and also her ability to get the title again. And she was also doing that proceeding being booed for no reason for weeks and weeks on end. Mind you, she hasn't done anything wrong. And last, let's talk about your boy R-Truth. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him, y'all, because originally it was a thing where they fired him because they knew that he was the silly Negro who was like the minstrel show, and they treated him like an idiot, and they're like, okay, well, we ain't thinking shit about him, so bye. Despite the fact that he was an old head too, he was the oldest member of the roster. They brought him back after a lot of us said, yo, we didn't like the way that you did R-Truth. And then when they brought him back, it seemed like they were going to try to make him somewhat serious. Now here they are once again, making him a more serious character, but still not giving him any opportunities to be in the main event picture. So that tells you that there's a pattern of foundational Black American wrestlers being treated like shit. And with R-Truth, it solidifies it, because the reality is that he would have already been out the door and still out the door had we not said nothing. And I saw a few of you mayo-eating white supremacists bitching in my comments about how, don't you feel stupid? Triple H brought him back. Don't you feel stupid? While you're sitting there eating mayonnaise out of a jar with a spoon. To that comment, no, I don't feel damn stupid. We all know that Triple H brought R-Truth back because all of us talked about how he shouldn't have been let go in the first place. And it was a way for him to capitalize on the heat. That's why he did it in the first place. It was not a work. I don't care what anybody says. That was real. And then he reversed the decision in order for people to not revolt, because everybody was talking about how fucked up the decision was in the first place. My point in saying everything that I'm saying is that you can tell that there is a trend of there being a racist agenda to end the careers of foundational Black American wrestlers or relegate them to being a nobody. They don't want foundational Black American wrestlers to be successful, despite the fact that they are excellent athletically. I mean, just look across the board. Every wrestler that I just named, Xavier Woods, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Bianca Belair, Naomi, and R-Truth are all hyper talented. They are probably some of the best wrestlers in the ring to date, if we're being totally honest. Yet these people are either given opportunities that other people are saying are too much, and they're boring, which is code word for you don't like them because they're Black, let's be real, or you don't give them opportunities at all, and you relegate them to stupid ass tag teams or weird parlor tricks where they have to be an idiot and make motherfuckers laugh like a minstrel show act. But we all know the deal, and we all know what's gonna happen. A lot of these same wrestlers, unless they decide to make a change, go somewhere else, or again, start their own thing or be a part of something that is actually Black owned, like ASE Wrestling. These folks are going to continue to be puppets and collect a check or get the notoriety that they feel is going to be suffice as long as they can continue to feed their families and have a job. There's seldom going to be individuals who are going to speak up and say that what is happening is wrong. If anything, they're going to justify it. So while these things need to be reported and these things need to be said, there's still that understanding that a lot of these people are complacent and will go along with the agendas that are done against them. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I'll definitely have more to come in the future. In the meantime, I would love it if you like this video, subscribe, hit the share button, and also hit the bell icon so you get notifications for whenever I come out with new content on this channel. Other than that, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out, y'all.